now that we've been roused awake by the great music, thank you, David and the band. Good morning. I'm Reverend Louise, pronouns she, her, and I welcome each of you this day. We begin with the words of Kathleen McTeague. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude. Taking the time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together. We light our chalice this morning as a symbol of the inner light that we share and the interdependent web that holds all as one. May we find our way to deeper connection this day. Blessed be.
We're going to teach you a song this morning. I'll sing a verse and then you'll all figure it out. If I can sing it, you can sing it. So.
Good morning. I'm Fred Katz. I'm your worship associate today. My pronouns are he, him. Welcome to All Souls Church. And welcome to DC Mud for a morning of blues and song and joy making. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, diverse in many ways, but united in our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of every person and in the obligation to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. We invite you to join us as we seek to create a diverse, justice-seeking, spirit-growing community that is true to the vision inherent in our name, All Souls. I'd like to extend a special welcome to those of you who are new to our community. If you're visiting us for the first time or just feeling new, please raise your hand in person or in Zoom so that we can give you a special All Souls welcome. Are there any visitors? We're glad you're here. We hope that after the service, you will join us for coffee and snacks in the Reeb lobby out the door to your left. If you are in the sanctuary, the order of service can be accessed by the QR code located on the back of the pew in front of you, or you may request a printed program from an usher where there is a QR code. For those of you on Zoom, a link to the order of service is in the chat. You can stay up to date on all the upcoming offerings of the church community with our Friday newsletter. If you're not currently subscribed, sign up on the link on the All Souls website homepage, and the link should also be in the Zoom chat. All Souls recognizes that our city and our church were built on lands taken from indigenous people. We lament this injustice and grieve the impacts. The closest village to our church was Nacotchtank, from which the name Anacostia derives. The residents were part of the Piscataway group of tribes present in the DC and Maryland region that are still remain in this region to this day. Descendants of these people remain in this region to this day. And for all of us who aren't native to this land, one way to practice our commitment to the eighth principle is to find out what Native organizing is happening in your area and how you can support it. Now is the time to greet one another. If you're on Zoom, open up your gallery screen and greet each other. If you're physically present in the sanctuary, please greet each other in the way that feels best, and you can say hello to the people on Zoom through the cameras in the rear balcony. Thank you. Let's continue our conversations and greetings after the service in the Reeb lobby. Again, welcome to All Souls Church.
same things. I can see your expression when the phone rings. We both know there's something happening here. There's no sense dancing around the subject. A wound gets worse when it's treated with neglect. We both turn down, there's nothing here to fear. You can talk to me. You can talk to me. You can talk to me. You can set your secrets.
Hello, everyone. Hey. All right, I like that. That was good. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Ryan McCray Ely. My pronouns are he and him. I'm actually under care at this congregation because I'm a seminarian, so I want to thank you all for putting me under your care. I appreciate that. And it's very good to be with you today. We welcome you to coffee hour today after the service, which will be in the Reeb lobby, which will be to your left. Our guest, Joe Weston, will be selling and signing copies of his book, Fierce Civility, and I think he has one other book out there. Can we get a quick welcome for Joe Weston? He's sitting right there. Joe is also going to be presenting a workshop from noon to 1 upstairs in the Eaton Room. This will be on the long-term benefits of having difficult conversations. This session will explore ways to cut through some of the confusion between conflict and confrontation. It will offer some tools to use in uncomfortable conversations as a way to deepen relationships, create space for new solutions to emerge. Joe Weston is an international facilitator, consultant, and coach in the fields of conflict prevention, transformational leadership, and effective communication. He works with governmental agencies, corporations, nonprofits, and individuals worldwide. We have more guests coming on July Sundays. On the 16th, Air Force Chaplain Anthony Jenkins will be our preacher. I'm looking forward to that. I bothered him with a few emails, so I'll be here. And on the 23rd, we will feature a performance of the Little Central America 1984, part of the Gala Hispanic Theater season. See the newsletter and order service for more details. We now turn to our time of congregational caring. Our condolences to David Wiley, whose brother Tim died in Houston on Wednesday night. Tim was diagnosed 5 weeks ago with an aggressive form of leukemia. David was able to be there all week with his family. Love and blessings to David, his spouse Pam Kukos, and extended family in this time of loss. And now your names and situations, either into the chat on Zoom or aloud in the sanctuary. Now, I invite you to join me in prayer or meditation. Father, Mother God, Spirit of the Divine, that which connects all things. Among the wise, you are wisdom. Among hidden things, you are silence. Among those who want victory, you are wise conduct itself, O Elohim. Thank you for setbacks. Thank you for recessions and retreats. Thank you for bloody noses and lost fights. Thank you for reminding us that no battle for civil or human rights is ever decisively won. Thank you for showing us that the freedoms we take for granted can be swiftly rescinded. Thank you for demonstrating to us how easily we can be kicked into a past that none of us want to revisit, where gay families are forced back into the closet for fear of discrimination, where higher education, that building block of American success, becomes a dream deferred for all but the most financially fortunate, where inclusion is abandoned and segregation makes a slithering, shambling return. Jesus, my rabbi, my teacher, spirits of my ancestors, known and unknown, Lord of many faiths and names, grant us, if you see fit, a fighter's heart. Because our families, rich in color, identity, expression, and love, are worth fighting for. O Divine, if it is your will to give us that strength, grant us discerning wisdom so that in our pursuit of justice, we do not become like the oppressions we seek to counter. Temper us, O Lord, be our blacksmith, hold us through our time of trial, then lead us through cool waters and deliver us as steel. May our ancestors be with us. Ashe and amen.
for all that is named and all that is held in the silence of our hearts, we say amen. Our reading today is from Fierce Civility, Transforming Our Global Culture from Polarization to Lasting Peace by Joe Weston. No one is exempt from both the responsibility and the consequences of determining what our shared future will look like. Working together is the only viable path to a future that still holds forth hope. And the willingness to talk with one another in ways that overcome differences must underlie and enable that collaboration in order to lead to better and broader solutions. How we are presently communicating doesn't seem to be working. We need a new, upgraded way to talk and engage that meets the needs of our current challenges. We must step out of the noise, stop positioning ourselves and others against each other, and truly start talking. The remedy is not easy, but it is simple. We need to cultivate a way of communicating that fosters trust and collaboration and lessens the extremes of division, fear, and mistrust. We must move through our mental constructs that create separation and get back into our hearts and remember who we are at our best. It's so great to have my friend and colleague Joe Weston here today, and I'm glad to speak about his book, Fierce Civility. It's made an impact on me over the last few months and offered very practical solutions to ongoing challenges. And today I want to share just a little of his framework that has helped me gain some new perspective. Perhaps like you, I tend to avoid the most risky conversations. I might skate around the difficult issues or cut off conversation altogether. Sometimes I decide that the person or situation just can't change and distance myself. Sometimes I don't want to experience the friction and try to steer clear. And I'd say all these responses are coming from some fear. Fear of anger and loss, of breakdown and separation. And this is essentially a form of flight, which can happen automatically when we feel threatened. When we're dealing with anxiety, especially extreme anxiety, it's hard to turn off that threat response. And we lose our connection with the compassion, the common sense, the wisdom of our hearts. We tend to perpetuate patterns of separation and opposition and start to feel threatened as a solo individual, often from past history that's more than the situation at hand. We move into a kind of self-protection, which sets up walls instead of bridges. These responses come from the trauma state you probably have already heard about. Our limbic brain goes into flight, fight, freeze, and the neocortex, which is the part of the brain which seeks relationships and connections, is essentially offline. In order to make a different move, we have to interrupt this cycle of reactivity. We need to switch from the adversarial to find a different strategy for social engagement. First, we need to calm our activated system and work to inhibit this flight, fight, freeze pattern. Then we can more accurately assess, is there a true risk here? This takes practice, and the how-to of that process is the subject of the entire book. So I do recommend that you join us for the workshop today or get a copy of the book to learn more. Let me just outline a bit of what I've tried to incorporate the last few months. Since I first read Fierce Civility in April, I've noticed how quickly this fight, flight, freeze process occurs and how often. Now, at that time, tensions here at All Souls were high, and the conflicts that were emerging showed a lot of signs of defensive trauma. There was the upset about the current circumstances. There were the memories of prior conflicts. And on top of that, there was the disappointment that we had any tension at all in a place we wanted to be a safe sanctuary in these times. I could feel how defended I was, how invested in my own version of reality, and how many others seemed locked down in a similar way. Overall, I didn't feel safe at All Souls, and I began to notice that I was on guard for the next attack. I realized that my limbic brain was feeling threatened, but the actual situation was just uncomfortable. And one of the key points in Joe's work is that being uncomfortable is not being unsafe. If I could stand down from the trauma activation, then I might see more clearly how to be and move. Now, the work of Fierce Civility is body-based, and one practice in response to a feeling of threat is to cultivate the inner balance first. We practiced versions of this in several sessions recently where our All Souls Committee on Right Relations led us in dialogue. Then a method in this book goes like this: to focus first on the center core of the lower belly and to feel your feet on the ground, and then to maintain an internal connection with the heart center. When you take deep breaths, it can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and our stress arousal system shifts in response. And from this more grounded place, we can better assess what is happening and how we might proceed. So you shift the body to shift the mind. We find inner balance first in order to make some new moves. We find some ways to pivot, to take a step out of our locked or polarized positions, and to try something different. Because we are embodied creatures, this is not just a mental, conceptual activity. Our whole self is needed to get a sense of where we are and where we might go. And we especially need to know when our survival brain gets going and how to intervene. Our entire bodies must be involved. Now, sometimes when we assess risk, we discover that there is an actual threat. In that case, we clearly need to exit to safety. This might involve leaving a dangerous situation quickly or ending a relationship with a toxic person or setting. Dialogue obviously can't happen when actual harm is intended or when our essential well-being is threatened. So let's be clear that not every situation is one where we can be vulnerable or find a relational building that increases understanding. The challenge is that our nervous system so often gets confused about where we are and how dire the threat may be. We cut out in situations that could be open to transformation, and we confuse discomfort with a lack of safety. We might just give up because it all feels too hard, and it takes stamina to hang in and try new moves. As Joe writes, we have to step into open-hearted fierceness while calling ourselves and those we encounter to our highest common guiding principles. And in the settings that we care deeply about, can we find this passionate desire to stay engaged, to try the new methods, and to risk connectivity? It's spiritual work to persist and to keep trying, to remember the values that we hold around unity and kindness, and to see what might be possible. Joe calls this spiritual nourishment. I like this term. He maintains that we are enriched every time we recommit to minimizing the harm to ourselves, others, and the earth, and we express our support and care of others. As he puts it, it requires dedication to overcoming one's own unexamined beliefs, our habits and patterns that create separation and extreme self-interest. Spiritual nourishment activates within us the transformational power of the heart, inspiring moment-to-moment expression of our highest principles as nurturers and protectors for the benefit of all. So today, I invite you to do some spiritual inventory. Where are you in relationships that could use some tending? Are there issues hanging about unaddressed? And could you imagine inviting dialogue in an open-hearted way? Where are you in community that means a lot to you, and how are you connecting in that place? Are there places you could build more relationships and be open to hearing a wide range of viewpoints? There may also be situations that would benefit from you taking a step back. If you are mightily convinced of the 100% truth of your own perspective and feeling self-righteous about the merits of that stance, you might need a timeout. This is a warning sign that I take for myself. Like, the more positive I am that I've got this and I know exactly what's going on, the less likely that actually is. Could you imagine practices to find your inner balance, to activate that parasympathetic nervous system, and to cool down your anger and outrage? Would you be willing to consider this learning for your own spiritual nourishment and as an offering of care for others? It takes courage to risk the approach of fierce civility, and the benefits are great. In a world that is full of so much polarization, our choices for unity matter deeply. May you consider your inner landscape and your own patterns of reaction honestly. May you find ways to pivot and try some new moves that bring connection and transformation. Blessed be, and amen.
I love summer. I love hot weather. I can even tolerate hot and humid pretty well. Full disclosure, I'm an August baby. Everything changes in the summer. Clothes, you can wear less of them. Vacations, you can take more of them, or at least one of them. I myself am heading down next week to North Carolina to Susie, the UU Intergenerational Family Camp in the Blue Ridge Mountains, for a week of music, nature, spirituality, and just getting away from it all. That's a plug. See me afterwards if you want to find out more about Susie. And music leadership changes here at All Souls this summer. We're welcoming 4 new amazing folks as interim music leaders. Carl DuPont as acting director of Jubilee Singers, Keith Arnold as Acting Director of Music and Arts and leader of the All Souls Choir, Amelia Powell-Walker as Acting Associate Director, and Amelia Peel, who will co-direct with Angela the Black American Music Sundays program. I am so looking forward to experiencing music making with all of them. I'm really happy about that. And as people do travel and change their schedules and perhaps take some downtime, attendance in All Souls invariably falls off also. What doesn't change are all the ongoing services that All Souls provides, either directly or through our Share the Plate partners. Because there are fewer of us here now, either in the sanctuary or online, it's especially critical that you act generously when the offering plate passes so that All Souls can continue to do all that good work. Speaking of our Share the Plate partners, this month it's Gala Hispanic Theater, located in the heart of Columbia Heights at the corner of 14th Street and Park Road. Since 1976, Gala has been promoting and sharing the Latino arts and cultures with a diverse audience, creating work that speaks to communities today, and preserving the rich Hispanic heritage for generations that follow. Their website is www.galatheater.org. If you're in the sanctuary, the ushers will be passing a plate for our offering. You can also text to All Souls by sending ASCU to 73256. That's ASCU to 73256. If you're on Zoom, click the link in the chat, which will direct you to the All Souls online giving. Thank you for your generosity.
Sure. Hello. You might slip, you might slide, stumble and fall by the roadside, but don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. When you're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Walk with the rich, walk with the poor. Learn from everybody, that's what life is for. But don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. When you're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Well, I might say things that sound strange to you, but I preach the gospel I believe to be true. But don't you let nobody turn your spirit down. When you're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. You might slide, stumble and fall by the roadside, but don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. When you're walking up to heaven, don't let nobody turn you around. Well, don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. Don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. Don't you let nobody drag your spirit down. When you're walking up to heaven, We're all together in this.
I'd like to close with the words that we opened with by Kathleen McTeague. We came together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude. Taking the time to look into one another's faces and seeing their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope is hallowed by our presence together today. Go in peace and practice love. Amen.